Hello everyone, I am Simplepreet Kaur, a registered migration agent at Aussizz Group Footscray. Welcome to Ask Aussizz live session. So this live session is basically a Q&A session. Aussizz Group has taken an initiative to do such sort of live sessions in order to be accessible to more of the audience or more of people who are very busy in their daily lives or who have busy work schedule and not able to have any appointments booked with the migration agents in order to have some questions or the inquiries about the migration or education. So that is why we are here. You can ask us any questions related to migration or education, and we'll be answering your questions instantly or right away. So while we are waiting for more people to join, so we'll just let you know that what sort of topics we are going to discuss today. So we'll be discussing most of the latest trends or the state nomination updates in this particular financial year. The most important topic is Victoria State's invitation round and WA's invitation rounds, which has recently happened. Let's start with the Victoria State. So Victoria State is finally open for this financial year and has conducted two invitation rounds so far. Victoria has got 2,700 seats for 190 and 600 seats for 491 for this particular financial year. So this year's quota is comparatively lesser as compared to the last financial year, but it is equivalent to the pre-COVID situation, which used to be there like before the COVID situation. So Victoria has conducted two invitation rounds. The first invitation round was on 25th of September. And the second invitation round was on 19th of October. So we have got few questions and then we can start, continue the same topic. So Maninder Chauhan is asking, what are the chances of motor mechanic with 70 points for 189, 75 points for 190 and 85 for 491 for Victoria and WA? Currently in Victoria, do I need to move state for better chance, and where you recommend? Maninder, basically, if you are currently in Victoria, I would suggest you to stick to Victoria, but at the same time, you can lodge the WA EUI maybe for 491 if you do not have a job offer letter as an interstate applicant. But if you can have an offer letter or employment of contract in future for WA, you can go for WA as an interstate applicant for 190 as well. However, Victoria has got the most of the seats for this particular financial year. WA has conducted a huge round for invitations, recently. So you can consider both of the states, but you can wait for a while. You might get an invitation in Victoria, but try WA at the same time. The next question is from Nitesh. 90 points for 190 and 85 points for 189. Chemical engineer currently employed in my field in WA. How good are my chances are as in latest invitation round, WA issued invites at 95 points for non-priority sectors. Nitesh, if you have already been working in the same field in WA, so you have very good chances to get an invite. You might be invited in the next invitation round. So there are speculations in the market that WA has finished almost all the quota. So basically, people who have got the pre-invites have to do the state nomination applications as well, and who will get the state nomination approved will be utilized under that particular quota. So don't worry, you might be invited in the next invitation round. So stay positive. And if you can work on the points, try to increase your points in order to have better chances. Sai Krishna, when can we expect 189 round, and what are my chances for 189 with 95 points with computer network and systems engineer? Sai, unfortunately, we haven't got any of the updates yet for 189 invitation rounds. Immigration has conducted a huge round last financial year in December, where 35,000 people got the invitation and they're still waiting for their visas to be granted. But still, we are expecting whenever there is a 189 invitation round, so it is going to be a bigger round. And anyway, since you have got 95 points in your particular occupation, so you have better chances. So keep on trying for the alternative options as well. It can be 190 or 491. since you have 95 points, so you will like to go for the 189 or 190, but you have better chances to get it. The next one is, I have 85 points for ICT security specialist, but no job experience. Do I have any chance in Victoria? Savindu, basically you try for 189 and at the same time 190. Yes, you can try without having a job as well, because for Victoria 190, there is not any mandatory requirements for an employment. But if you get a job, it will increase your chances in order to get an invite, pre-invite from the Victoria state. But at the same time, you can try for WA as an interstate applicant, and you can try for 491. If your current visa is expiring or something, you can try for 491 as well. Chances of getting invite, Victoria 190, 95 points, and 189, 90 points, ICT business analyst, not working in the field. Garima, you have high points, so you have better chances to get it. It's just the matter of time. Victoria has just conducted 2 invitation rounds so far. The first invitation round was big enough, generous enough, not big enough, but generous enough. The second invitation round, which has just happened on 19th of October, was a smaller round. But then Victoria will be conducting more of the invitation rounds, soon. So you might be considered in the next invitation round. Ma'am, please tell human resource scope in terms of PR in Australia for Indian students. Dear Aryan, yes, of course, you can go for an HR manager skill assessment or a recruitment consultant skill assessment if you have a relevant work experience. And we have got few of the applicants who have managed to get the invitations from different states in these particular occupations. But then I don't know about the exact profile of yours, so you can contact me or any nearest branch of Aussizz Group, and we can discuss your profile in detail. But yes, human resource managers, HR managers, and recruitment consultants do have PR pathways under the state nomination programs. What are the chances of getting invitation for pharmacist at 75 points for 491 from offshore? See, Vikram, as of now, in the first invitation round of Victoria State, we have got a couple of invitations for the offshore applicants, and those were basically for engineering applicants as per Aussizz stats. But I mean, of course, pharmacist occupations fall under the health care category, so you can have a chance as an offshore applicant in the next invitation rounds. I'm an MBA graduate. I'm branching in India. I want to migrate to Australia. How is it possible, ma'am? Any advice you want to give? Aryan, so as I advised before, so you can contact me and we can have one-to-one consultation. That yes, if you have work experience, you can directly apply for the skill assessment based on that, and the pathway will be different for you. But if you do not have any work experience, then the visa options might be different for you. So basically you need to contact me or any nearest branch of Aussizz Group, and then you can have your further pathways for the visas discussed. Hi, I have applied for my 491 visa in Feb 2023 in South Australia in trade occupation, metal machinist. When can be visa granted from offshore? Dear Bharat, I'm not sure if you're talking about the visa or the invitation. Since you have said visa, so 491 visas are taking a longer time, so it can be roughly granted in a year or so, but then you just have to wait for the immigration department to get back to you. Okay, Bharat Singh, I have applied for 491 visa again. This has been covered. Meet Patel, what is the chance without job for 91 Queensland, 70 points in chemist, live in regional, quality control chemist, positive outcome? Dear Meet, basically Queensland would require you to have an ongoing employment and further 6 months of employment contract in order to get an invitation under 491 category. Karthik, when would be the immigration grant round for SBO Queensland? Basically, this is going to be an invitation round, not an immigration grant. So there is not any news about it yet. Queensland state doesn't publish the dates of the invitation rounds. So anyway, we just have to wait for the updates from the state. Some people are claiming NSW 190 happening now. Is it true? Dear Rafti Imam, basically NSW is open to lodge the invitations, I mean the expression of interest, but it hasn't run any of the invitation rounds yet. So we are still waiting for the updates from NSW state for the invitation rounds. Okay, Tina, I live and work in regional Victoria with 105 points for 491, and my occupation is architectural draft person. Do I have any chances of getting the invite? Been waiting for 119 invite since last year, and now I'm considering to change my EOI. Dear Tina, we have got few of the applicants from the same industry, like quantity surveyors and the civil engineers who have recently got the invitations from Victoria State. So since you have got highest points, like 105, 105 points for 491, so I mean, be patient, keep on waiting. You can get the invite from Victoria State. You might be considered in future for the future rounds. Yes, so there are not any other questions so far, so we can continue our discussion, which I have left previously. So Victoria conducted 2 invitation rounds. There was the first invitation round on 25th of September. The second invitation round was on 19th of October. The 25th of September invitation round was generous enough, where various occupations have got the invitations, like IT people, engineering, healthcare, even chefs have received the invitations. The cutoff for IT was 90 to 95. For engineering occupations, it was 80 to 85. For healthcare workers, it was 70 to 75. For chefs, it was 70 to 75 again. Most of the invites for chef occupation were under subclass 491. It is clearly stated on Victoria's website that hospitality, occupations related to hospitality will be preferred for the 491 visa subclasses. And then people who are working in cookery can consider 491 as an option, because here under 491 subclass, you can consider to get the invitation with the lesser points as well. And apart from that, it is the very first time the Victoria State has pre-informed about the invitation round on 19th of October that we are going to conduct an invitation round. So which is a good thing, that people who have already lodged their EOIs and ROIs, can stay tuned to get the invitations, from Victoria State. Although the round was not big enough, but still few people have managed to get the invitation. Again, IT, engineering, even accountants have got the invitation. Few of my accounting clients have got the invitation for 491. So in the latest invitation round, the invitations were issued for most of the 491 under 491 subclass. There were few invitations for 190. So basically, we can discuss the few of the case scenarios in order to make you understand that for Victoria State, or it is not important to have the highest points. However, your overall profile matters. So let's discuss. One of the case scenario where one of my clients as a software engineer has managed to get the invitation. The overall points for that particular applicant was 80 points. He had like 6 to 7 years of overseas work experience, but he was not able to claim the points for that work experience. But still, he mentioned that in the expression of interest, in order to enhance his profile, he was having onshore work experience for 10-11 months. But then again, he was not able to claim the points because it was not 1 year. The applicant had the skilled partner, which means he claimed 10 points for the partner. The partner had a positive skill assessment and 6 each, and that is how we claimed 10 points for the partner. He had superior English, although the annual earning was very less, like it was under 50,000, but still he managed to get the invitation. So basically, his profile had skilled partner and extensive work experience. And if we talk about accountants, one of my clients who was accountant, she got 491 invitation, but the point cutoff for her was 100 points. But it was 491. Her annual earning was above 80,000, and she had superior English, but she had 1 year of relevant work experience as well, as an accountant in the regional area. So that is how it was 491. And we have gotten Other invite for marketing specialist occupation. So marketing specialist occupations profile was basically the applicant had extensive work experience but a skilled partner. So just wanted to let you know that the points might not matter. Like, I mean, of course, the better the points you have, the better the chances you get. However, your overall profile matters. Even if you're not able to claim the work experience points, still it is important to mention your work experience in the expression of interest in order to enhance your profile. And here is a tip for the applicants who work on ABN. So lately we have received, information requests for people who are working on ABN in Victoria. So basically the department has asked them for the BAS statements and GST documents. So you literally have to be careful when you're calculating your annual earning, so that you are able to justify that with the supporting documents at the later stage, at the stage of the state nomination. So make sure, if you have any concerns, if you're not able to understand how to calculate the annual earning, you can always contact your migration agent, or Aussizz Group, or your nearest Aussizz Group branch, in order to get a positive outcome for the state nomination. So let's see if there are any further questions. Hi, I'm offshore. I have applied for 190, 491 with 75 and 85 points in Victoria, and NSW as an ICT account manager. 10 years of work experience, superior English. This is the income. See, Harish, you have very good chances to get an invite. It's just the matter of time. You might have to wait for a couple of more invitation rounds for Victoria. Your profile seems very good. You have extensive work experience and superior English, so you can, have chances to get the invite as an offshore applicant as well. Essen, any update for SA? When we expect the pre-invite? Unfortunately, Essen, there is not any further updates from South Australia. So there was a new update from South Australia, that basically South Australian state has introduced a new requirement for the registration of interest, which was previously not there for South Australia. So if you are living in South Australia and if you're looking to apply for South Australia state nomination program, so first of all, you'll have to lodge an expression of interest along with the registration of interest, and you might be required to have 6 months of work experience in the relevant field. And if your ROI is selected, only then you will get a pre-invite to lodge your state nomination application in order to be processed ahead. But unfortunately, there is not any further information available yet. So we are still waiting for the updates from the South Australia state. But South Australia has introduced the critical fields under which the occupations are going to be considered. That can be construction, defense, hospitality industry, teaching industry, healthcare industry again. So if you're falling under that particular occupations, you can be considered on priority in South Australia. What's the next question? Ma'am, I am chartered accountant, fully CA credit on spouse visa. Is there any chance for 491? I only have 2 years experience. If I study civil construction diploma, which state I should choose? Dear Bilal, if you have studied chartered accountant qualification, you can try your skill assessment with the accounting skill assessment authorities. There are 3 authorities where you can get the skill assessment from: CPA, IPA, or CA. You are required to have 7 each in IELTS academic or PTE in order to get the positive skill assessment. No work experience is mandatory. If you want to study this advanced diploma in civil construction design, you can choose any of these states. But as per the current scenario, it can be Western Australia, because Western Australia is preferring the occupations which fall under the building and construction industry, and you might get the invitation without having a job or job offer letter. But then this is the current criteria. The criteria in future might change, because every financial year the requirements of every state changes. Next question is, can a chef do JRP? in Coffee Club, please. Dear Sukhpinder, basically, you are required to find an employment where you are going to perform the proper duties of a chef. If Coffee Club has proper duties of chef, if you're going to make recipes over there, if you're going to cook the dishes which require a particular skill of a chef to cook, those dishes, then you can do your job ready program over there. But literally, we have to see the menu of that particular place in order to guide you further. Simran, hi. For what assess, what is the current time taken to process the skill assessment outcome? As it's been almost 13 weeks, but I haven't received any updates yet. Dear Simran, there are some delays in the vet assess, services. So anyway, you just have to wait. If you do not have any reasons to get your skill assessment done under priority processing, so in that case, you just have to wait for a vet assess to get back to you. So as of now, it is 10 to 12 weeks, but vet assess is doing the fast track only if you have any priority processing compelling reasons. Excuse me. Okay. So coming to Western Australia state invitation rounds, Western Australia has conducted a huge invitation round lately, where around 1,500 people has got the pre-invitation. Various occupations have been invited. The plus point for WA is that interstate people can apply for this particular state, and people who are working or who have the skill assessment as in building and construction occupations, or have their occupation on the priority list, are not required to have any offer letter for Western Australia state. So people who are living in Western Australia, they have a very good chance to get an invite for 190 or 491. But people who are living interstate, they also can try for Western Australia 491 options. Okay, and rest of the states, South Australia, I've already covered. NSW, we are still waiting for the invitation rounds. It is open to lodge the expression of interest, but we are still waiting for the invitation round. Queensland, it is open. The requirement for the Queensland is to have 3 months of work experience and plus 12 months of employment offer contract in the relevant field, and you can go for 190. On the basis of that, the occupations related to the higher education would require to have a 75 or above points, and the trade occupations are just required to have 70 or higher points. For 491, you are supposed to have an ongoing employment with a further 6 months of employment contract, but this has to be in the relevant field. So Queensland is open. Canberra has conducted the invitation round. Canberra is just left with approximately 500 seats. NT is still closed. Tasmania hasn't issued any of the invites yet. So basically, we still need to wait for a few of the states to get back to us in order to give us more updates about the invitation rounds. So this was all about the states. The next important topic is, nowadays many of the students have got their 408 visas which are going to expire soon, maybe within a month or two. So what are the options for those applicants? So 408 visa extension can be applied for another 6 months, but you can only apply for that particular extension when your current visa is going to current 408 visa is about to expire in 28 days. So within those 28 days, you can apply for another 408 visa anytime, but you must be employed. You will have to provide the employment documentation in order to extend your 408 visa. Apart from that, if you are not going for 408 visa extension for 6 months, what are the alternative options? And that can be a student visa, a 407 visa, that is a training visa. If you're employed in a skilled occupation, and if your employer is happy to sponsor you, you can go for a training visa. Employer sponsored visas like 482 or 186 visa. General skill migration means 189, 190, 491. If you get your invitation, based on any of these subclasses, you can lodge your visa and can get a bridging visa directly once your 408 visa expires. Apart from that, if you have a partner who is Australian citizen or a permanent resident, and if you are in a genuine relationship with your partner, you can go for a partner visa options as well. Any other questions? In 60 days, supervised teaching certificate from an autonomous college is eligible for AITSL. I have BSc, B.Ed, 4-year degree, and required IELTS score. Okay. So the skill assessment requirement for any teaching occupation, whether it is an onshore or offshore qualification, you are required to have an evidence of 45 days of supervised teaching practice. Apart from that, you're required to have IELTS academic score, 8 in listening, 8 in speaking, 7 in reading, and 7 in writing in order to get the skill assessment. So these are the basic requirements. Let's say if you have an overseas qualification, in that case, that 45 days of supervised teaching practice evidence has to be on the letterhead of the university, but not on the letterhead of the school. So basically, if you're meeting any these criteria, the basic criteria, so you can get the skill assessment based on these documents. Okay. Any further questions? Bilal, if I move to Western Australia, sorry, I lost the question. If I move to Western Australia from Sydney and start study advanced diploma in civil construction design, can I apply for 491 as an external auditor in Western Australia on 90 points during study? See, basically, anyway, if you're studying your advanced diploma in Western Australia, but if you have a skill assessment as an external auditor or external auditor in Western Australia, so anyway, you can use any of these skill assessments and you can process your invitation or expression of interest on the basis of that. See, first of all, you will have to get the skill assessment and we'll have to see that which financial year do you fall under. If you're falling as of now in this particular financial year, you can use your external auditor skill assessment in order to process your expression of interest. And as soon as you complete your advanced diploma in civil construction design, you can apply for this skill assessment as a civil engineering draft person on the basis of 6 each with Engineers Australia Authority. And in future, you can change your skill assessment in that expression of interest, and you can apply for the expression of interest on the basis of the civil engineering draft person occupation. The next question is, my tier is expiring soon. So for applying student visa, which course is good for PR? So I can get one more option if I don't get the invite for motor mechanic. See, Maninder, when you're applying for a student visa, you literally have to meet the GT criteria. GT criteria means genuine temporary entrant. You just have to justify that why are you going for this particular study. So that study might have to be relevant to your previous qualification, or you just have to, show that why do you want to study that particular course. And then if you're going for, let's say, any other course which is leading to the permanent residency, yes, you can get the skill assessment in that particular occupation and can try for the PR options on the basis of the new occupation. But in the meantime, you just try for your PR options on the basis of the motor mechanic occupation. And here is a tip for you. I have seen many of the trade occupation people who just complete their job ready program and that's it. Then they stop working in their own field. And they just apply for the skill assessment. They just use the job ready program as a skill assessment and try to get the invitation. It is recommended that till you get your permanent residency, you keep on working in the same field, like as a motor mechanic, so that in case, unfortunately, if your job ready program skill assessment expires, which expires in 3 years, you can get the skill assessment on the basis of the 3 years of work experience again in order to process your application ahead. And apart from that, let's say if you keep on working in the same occupation, you might have an option to get the employer sponsored visas as well. And of course, if you're working in the same field, a state can prefer you over other people if you're working in the relevant occupation of your skill assessment. Okay. Another tip I want to give to people, who are going to apply for the 485 visa extension. So immigration has issued a list of qualifications, which are the eligible qualifications for 485. So there are many applicants who are already eligible, but their current TR is about to expire maybe within 1 year, 2 years, or maybe 3 years. So it is recommended to them to apply for their tier extension at the earliest. Why? Because this list can be updated or revised by the Department of Home Affairs anytime, and your qualification can be removed from that particular list anytime. So it is better to get your visas extended right away. And if you have any further questions about that, you can always come and check with us. So if you do not get the invitation under the general skill migration, so what are the alternative options for you? There are a number of people who have already been in the queue, have maximum points as well, or some people they have lesser points as well, but working in the relevant field of their skill assessment. They can always try for the employer sponsored visas. So there are different categories for the employer sponsored visas. So if you have 2 years of relevant work experience in the nominated field, you can always go for 482 visa, which is a temporary employer sponsored visa. But this is a pathway to 186 visa, which is a permanent employer sponsored visa. So for permanent employer sponsored visa, you're required to have at least 3 years of work experience. But for temporary temporary employer sponsored visa, even if you have 2 years of work experience, you can try for this particular visa. And but your employer must be ready to sponsor you. There must be a genuine need of your position at your particular workplace, and that is how the employer will sponsor you. And the employer has to bear the cost of the entire visa process, because of course if there is a genuine need of the position at your workplace, so the employer has to bear the cost. Joby, there is another question. Sebastian, whether the supervisory teaching certificate from autonomous college will consider for AITSL? Dear Sebastian, the AITSL guidelines clearly says that you are required to provide the teaching practice evidence on the letterhead of the university to which your college was affiliated to. So you are required to get a letter from the university to which your college was affiliated to in order to process it ahead. But still you can check with me in person. You can send me your documentation and I can just double check it for you, that whether if your school is affiliated to any of the universities, then you'll have to get it from the university. But we can have a discussion in detail, a one-on-one. There was another update which for which most people are already aware of. There was an update about 491 visa, that immigration has already waived off the income requirement for 191. So if you are applying for 191, you're not required to meet any income requirement of $53,900 anymore. So if you have lived in the regional, worked in the regional on 491 visa for 3 months, you can just apply for 191 with the notice of assessments. You do not have to meet the or justify the income requirements anymore. So this was another update about 191 and 491 visa. And we have got many of the 191 visas granted already. So the processing time for this visa is like 2 to 3 months on an average. And so it is very quick. Okay, so since there are not any more questions, if you have any particular questions about any topic, be it migration or education, you can contact me in Aussizz Group Footscray, or contact your nearest branch of Aussizz Group in order to have further assistance with the migration or education. And thank you so much for this live session today.